And it's like, get people in for free, try it out. If you like it, you stay.
Yeah.
There's not much of a systemized acquisition system, right?
Very true.
So I paid Hormozi for the $35,000.
What is up, my friends?
All right, my friends, our first ever in-person G-Money Machine live podcast recording. It's the first for everything, so I'm super excited. We got my man Will Yu with us. I'm a lead gen guy. I'm an ads guy myself, so I know we're gonna have some great conversations here. Looking forward to breaking it down. Will, I know we got a lot in common, more than just the real estate stuff. I got the fitness background, the gym stuff. You started in the gym game a little bit. So tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I'm a native New Yorker. When I moved down to the Tampa Bay area, I actually purchased a kickboxing gym called Kai's in Tampa. It's still around.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still an active partner in it. And when I first got into that space, I ended up investing $35,000 for gym launch. And
For a gym launch?
Gym launch, same like, let's go. Because for me, it was just like, okay, there's obviously something broken in here. You know, the traditional gym model is, you know, very low ticket, recurring, and that's all they're kind of gunning for, right? And it's like, get people in for free, try it out. If you like it, you stay.
Yeah.
There's not much of a systemized acquisition system, right?
Very true.
So I paid Hormozi for the $35,000, and throughout that whole thing, I learned how to acquire clients on demand. So just how can we use leverage paid advertisement and to get people in the door. And then throughout his program, there's a thing called client finance acquisition, and he talks about it a lot, right? How can you get your customers to pay for your ads?
Yes.
So you can indefinitely, like, infinitely scale up
Print
without
money.
without having a cap and just having the cash flow, right? And honestly, that business model actually, it's what he taught actually works better for the wholesale real estate game because of the cash that you can collect.
Exactly, bro.
Right. So that's kind of what we did. My company, REI Transfer, we run an agency directly for acquisition companies, for wholesale acquisition companies nationwide, where we generate the off-market leads. And because the spreads are so big, you don't even have to teach client finance acquisition. It just automatically happens.
That happens, exactly.
Yeah.
Dude, spot on. You know, being a gym guy myself, I remember back before he was Hormozi, when he was just Alex and he was running gyms, and I followed him for almost a decade online. And I remember being like, you know, when you're a young man, you have that ego, like, he's not any better than me. Like, I could turn gyms around. Like, I've been doing this for a long time.
Right.
And I remember watching him, but he had the handlebar mustache, and I'm like, this guy's a clown, man.
With the man bun?
Yeah, and then you saw what happened for him, and like he obviously was great at what he was doing. So I didn't know actually that you had done gym launch. That's really cool. But I love what Hormozi does with, just like you said, like being able to use acquisition to fuel the machine and print money. That's very much so what we strive to do with DealMakers as well. So you not only run the agency though, you also run a wholesale company. So I know a lot of people are like, oh, if you're so great at generating leads, like why don't you just close your own leads? Why do you need to be an agency? I know I've heard this before.
Right.
I know you get the same thing, but you're still doing it. You're closing deals.
So the only reason why we still run an acquisition arm of our business is because we test creatives and ads on our own accounts first prior to rolling out to clients.
That's nice.
Because I just feel like it's only fair to do so, right? And sometimes some of the ads that we put out there, it bombs, right? And it just, for just basic ethics, right? It doesn't really make sense if I'm testing it on your account if you're spending money, especially if my clients, I have guys that are spending, you know, 30, 40, 50,000. And if I put a bad ad out, then I could waste thousands of the dollars. Yeah. Well, so I'd rather test it on my account first. And if I'm getting all these leads, I'm like, dude, might as well just post on them. But because of the fact that I don't like wholesale because of the long acquisition timeline, the cash conversion cycle, it's just way too long for me. I'm a paid ads guy. I like quick turnaround, you know, 72 hours. I want my cash back so I can fuel the machine. And dealing with wholesales, as you know, is like there's a lot of problems that go wrong with the sellers, and a lot of them, they self-implode and they kind of put themselves in a really terrible position. And it's just hard to manage all those things. So that's why, like, for us with our acquisition, the wholesale arm, we do purely innovations, and that's where me and you kind of like
we're in alignment on that.
About that too. So I somehow built a very relaxed wholesale business where I've probably spent an hour a day on it. I just meet with my acquisition. We have the dispos handled by an agent, and that's it. That's
what I love.
All you really need,
dude. First off, I gotta say respect for what you just said, because as a marketer, as somebody who's seen both the good and the bad from different agencies, like saying, hey, I'm willing willing to like test with my own money. I'm willing to like not try new things on yours, because like that's how most agencies are doing. Like they're just saying, hey, you record this creative and let's try this new thing. I don't know if it's going to work, but I think it is. But you're saying, hey, like, by the time I deliver it to a client, I've already tested it. I know that this is going to work and I'm confident in these ad pieces as creatives.
Right.
Awesome.
And a lot of the guys that I work with, it just, you want to be making sure like whatever you put out there is not because of the creative is wrong. Right, you want to make sure that, hey, on the accounts, we already have performance on it. And at that point, can we deliver a quality lead?
Yeah. I know, Zach, you got to have some things to say about that.
I mean, yeah, like, I guess my biggest thing is like, how do you balance having like all these different clients and your own company, right? Like, is the primary focus your agency?
Primary focus is ads. As agency, how can I become the best media buyer in this space? How can I offer good service?
Nice.
Honestly, the leads that we generate, like, there's a lot of good agencies out there that at a certain extent, like, the leads are all the same.
Yes.
And I'm probably going to want to be, but because everybody's like, hey, no, my leads are the best. Your leads are trash. I'm like, dude, they're just a person trying to sell their goddamn home. Do they have the motivation to sell? Do I need to sell the home? And is it at the right time, right place, right? And you negotiate into a discount.
Yeah.
So it's like, for me, what I can offer my clients is just having real estate experience. I'm an investor myself. I know how to underwrite deals better than a lot of the people that are actively doing wholesale.
Yeah.
So when a client tells me, hey, I don't know what to do with this lead, I tell them, give me the numbers, like let's underwrite it real quick. And I can tell you, hey, this is how you should structure it.
Dope.
Right. Like right now we have a deal that I'm buying in North Carolina. I'm getting paid to purchase that deal.
Is it a Morby method? What kind of structure is it?
So it was a auction. We had him file a blanket bankruptcy. My buddy Anthony actually helped me out throughout the whole process.
Awesome.
And we we filed a blanket bankruptcy, and then we structured a promissory note at the back end. So once we DSCR, so we have hard money.
Nice.
That's funding the whole purchase. So I have zero money down into that deal. And by the time I DSCR, I can pay his promissory note out, and then I get a free house. And then when I lease option the home out, I get paid probably, I can probably get like 5-10%.
Let's go.
And I can keep, obviously, we know how lease options where we can constantly just
They're not
roll it.
they're not going to take the option. They're going to end up leaving.
I mean, if they do, great. But if most of the cases do.
Yeah,
so
we understand that. And that's Creative Finance 101. There you go. I mean, that's looking awesome, bro. Yeah. I mean, congratulations on this fire deal. So you said somebody helped you through that, and that was just from you helping. You said, was it your lead that?
Yeah, that was just one of my leads. So I'm trying to explain to people, like, this kind of structuring, most agency people, they have no idea. They've never bought real estate in their past. They've never structured a deal. So for me, this would have been deadly, right? There was not enough equity right away. There was no way a cash sale will work. And the tight timeline because of the foreclosure process, like it's going to be very hard. And this was a semi-rural market. So it's, how can you squeeze the juice out of every lead, right? I turned a no deal into a $30,000 paycheck.
There we go.
Because I understand the game of real estate. I know how to leverage the bank. I know how to structure a deal to make it make sense, right, for an investor.
So I'm curious, that brings up another question for me. So like, you've got all this knowledge, right? Like, what do you do? Do you vet a lot of your clients to like be at a certain level of understanding? Because like you're saying, like, how there's that dichotomy, I've done a lot of lead gen and built an agency of sorts, not in the real estate space, but, home services, stuff like that. And there's always that dichotomy of like, the marketers are always like, oh, these guys suck at closing leads. And then the sales guys are like, these leads are trash. So how do you balance that with like running your agency? Like when you're about to take on a client, like do you require a certain level? Because if they suck, they're going to blame you that leads are bad.
Oh my God.
Right.
You probably think we think your leads are great because Daniel and everybody else closes every single one of us, feels like, Garen's team and everything. But I guess I was just curious, like how you balance that with, running your agency and growing it, right? Because, or I don't know, just if you have any like experiences with that.
It's like 80-20 principle. Like 80% of the people in this space they're not going to exist in the next year or two.
Yep.
And it's like, as an agency partner, as a marketing partner, like your goal is to be able to give them enough tools for them to be able to succeed long term, right? So for me, I work with enough people at a high level where I know that the quality of leads that we deliver can be closed. And I have guys that are making a baseline, from 4x return on ad spend all the way up to, 12x. So if you're getting this, if we're using the same funnels, disqualifying the same for motivation and whatnot, if you're not closing at a certain KPI, typically I can tell you is your sales process, right? And one of the things that we want to start implementing within our own system is like call tracking. I think that CRMs are overly complicated nowadays, where you have all these fancy buttons. And as a sales background person, the most important metrics is just honestly like how long are you on the phone, how fast do you get to the lead, right? How many offers are you throwing out there, and then what's the acceptance rate, right? Like let's just say if you're tossing out offers left and right, you see on your dashboard you have a acquisitions guy that's just throwing out offers and their acceptance rate is low. There has to be a reason behind that, right? Maybe they're not building a rapport, they're not structuring the deal correctly, they're just maybe just throwing out offers for the sake of just getting it out there.
Yeah.
And they start negotiating. Like we want to be able to see all those things and be able to tell our clients, hey, what are you messing up on? Like, hey, here's where you need to kind of like tighten things up a little bit more. And we want to offer that sales support too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Bro, I love that you said that, bro, because I've been quiet this whole time, brother. But my team knows that I'm a guy. If I send an offer, it's getting signed. Simple.
Right.
You know, and it's not a cocky thing. It's a building that rapport, right? Spend quality time with that seller. See, are you wanting to sell or are you needing to sell? Those are two different things. Wanting is you don't have a timeline. Needing to is that timeline is either near or far, right? So I need to find out that timeline. And to your point, now I know where I need to negotiate. Is it a timeline thing I need to negotiate? Is it a numbers thing I need to negotiate? But it's something that I need to negotiate, right? So once I get that, that's how I qualify what I'm working with. And to your point, go ahead, get the deal closed.
You know, I was actually just going to tag you in, Daniel, because Daniel leads our academy. We close a lot of cold leads. I'm a cold outreach guy, always been. I came up on the phones. Zach's got the background on the doors. We always have done that. I've run the ad stuff myself. Even when we first got connected, I was running my own ads because I've run an agency. I get it conceptually, but we weren't closing deals. And there was two things that was wrong. First off, I wasn't the expert media buyer. Second thing is I didn't have a closing team that was in place. You came in when we had closers where you were generating leads, and I knew they were good leads, and we still couldn't close them. And now we brought Daniel in, and now you've closed a couple, I think 2 off of the inbound leads already, right?
Hey, and more. Sure. That was the metric as of the last couple of days. I was actually going to ask you because you were 2 for 2 on Will's leads.
So I believe I'm 3 for 3.
Oh,
Yes, and I have
He's supposed to have a call scheduled here soon. He said, I got to sell it from the inbound lead. So you got a call, man. I believe you're recording, but
no, for sure.
So you obviously can tell a dramatic difference in the motivation level, the quality of a warm inbound lead versus all the cold stuff that we touch with students. What do you think changes the most, right, in talking to a cold lead versus some of the inbound leads that come from Will?
So I would say with inbound leads, it would be the instant rapport, right? Like I'm treating Zach like, hey, I don't know you, but I kind of know you. You filled out my form. I didn't fill out your form. So I came for you, but you came for me first. And what I mean by that is you initiated the conversation before I even called you, right? So I say, hey, Zach, how you doing, sir? I see you filled out my form and I'm here to, go over the call with you. It may take 5 to 10 minutes, right? Could take longer. That instant rapport is there because Zach knows he filled out my form. I probably called him right when I got the inbound lead, which may have been, I answer the phone as soon as I get it. Hey, how you doing? This is Zach. Oh, I just filled it out in the form right now. Yeah, it's my form, Versus a cold call, it's like, hey, I'm trying to convince Mr. You, like, hey, we know each other. Are you selling your house? Do you want to sell? Or are you not wanting to sell? Different ball game. And when I get an inbound lead, I also know the particulars and the parameters I'm working with.
Yeah, for sure. And you just mentioned something there, speed to lead. I know that's something that's super important. You collect as much information as we can, but like getting in contact with them is quick. Getting in contact with them quickly is so important. Yep. Like that was one of the issues when we first started together, where my systems were broken, right? Where like my team wasn't getting in contact with them quickly. So as the expert media buyer, like how important do you think it is to touch leads as quickly as possible? And what kind of differences do you see for clients that are able to touch them quicker versus ones that wait?
So you have to really think about like the psychology of an inbound versus outbound, right? The outbound lead, you don't know where they are at in their journey, and you're kind of just throwing shit. Excuse my language. The hell at the wall, hoping and once in a while it works. But it's a time. But as a team is expanding and you guys are evolving and you're hiring acquisitions, you want to make sure your best salespeople feel like they're making money. And just talking to random people that's kind of, you don't really know exactly where they are in their journey. It's kind of like a morale killer, right? But with the inbound lead, they're actively searching for a solution. And I'm pretty sure everybody in here has clicked on a Facebook ad where they fill out a form. The second you fill out that form, you're going to get bombarded with ads from many other companies.
Yeah.
Right. At this point, when I buy things for my lady on Valentine's Day, I click on one thing that I think she'll like just to get market research. So that's tip and trick for like people that have a relationship right there for you. I will literally click on 5-10 ads of things that I know she will like in companies she has bought things from, just so I can get fed ideas of what I could potentially give. Wow. Right. But that's the same meeting. Your media buyer boyfriend, right? But at the same time, you have to see like they're actively searching for a solution.
Yeah.
So if you're not getting to them right away, they're gonna fill out another form. If they're that motivated, they're gonna fill out another form. And honestly, at that point, it's the best. Whoever has the best sales process, right?
Yeah. And one of the things that we implemented, courtesy of my new partner Garrett, that really has helped tremendously is literally making contact before, you just touched on this, before they finished filling out the form. So breaking it into 2 parts where they fill out their name, first name, last name, like email, phone number, whatever that initial contact set is. They hit submit, then it's going to go ask them about the house. By the time they get through the second question on the house, the team's on the phone with them like, hey, I just got your information. And they're basically helping walk them through the rest of the form. And now you're talking about speed to lead. I mean, we're closing the conversion we are because the seller's like, oh my God, I haven't finished your formula. Like I'm not done yet. But getting them now, like there's no gap there, right? And to the point that you just made, like we're not the only ones doing this. And we all know this. Like we're all as marketers waiting for somebody to get you in so that we can all then hit you again, right? So by understanding that and then tying in, of course, the sales part of what we do, right? Marketing and lead gen is one thing, but like we want to get in touch as quickly as possible so that we can get the conversion, not give them time to think about it.
Yeah.
Because once they leave that, especially on Facebook, and actually this kind of leads into another question, the difference between Google and Facebook, right?
Yeah, I was actually
Because I know on Facebook specifically, it's about scroll stopping and they don't tend to like stick in the train of thought. They're going to go right back to their scroll and go back down versus Google being a little bit higher intent. So you've relatively recently expanded into the Google side of things, right? Like how do you feel the difference is?
So as I work with higher level people, Google is a paid to play platform. Yes. It's really expensive. Like the Home Investor franchise, the We Buy Your Home deal guys, there's actively spending $100,000 a month.
Yeah.
Outbidding everybody and their moms.
Yeah.
So you have to understand like who's playing in that field. It's a very hyper localized, targeting. With Facebook traffic, that with special ads or housing and credit, which we have to run in housing or credit, it's anybody that lives within a radius or travels within. So sometimes you might get more like rural areas. You might get, if you target Florida, you might end up getting, sometimes, Georgia. And so it gets really wacky at times. But for, let's just say if you're a company you're flipping and you can only service an X radius of an area, you're kind of beat when it comes to Facebook ads. It just doesn't really make sense for your business model. So therefore you have to play on the Google side. But the guys that are primarily heavy on Google, they're typically fix and flippers. They have a lot more margin.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And there's contractors I know and big teams, construction teams that will get a job and not make money just to feed their team so they have more jobs. Right. So those are the guys you're competing against.
Yeah.
Guys that are willing to lose money to get a deal to feed their staff.
Heard.
Yeah. Oh, it's extremely expensive to run Google, but I do work with a couple guys that are primarily focused in one area, and those guys are spending typically from $30,000 a month to $50,000 plus.
And when you say you work with them, and I think you told me previously about, I think it's a San Diego client or somebody that you have that like spends ridiculous amount per lead and per contract, but like and then also sees a dramatic return, correct?
Yeah. So if you think about it, San Diego is one of probably the most expensive housing markets in the United States. The average cost per PPL leads, which is Google PPC leads in San Diego, it's gonna range from $800 to like $1,200. The average cost per lead, just for the lead, the average cost per acquisition is like $12,000 to $15,000. Shoo. It's not a game that you're at, like the average wholesaler starting out can play.
Yeah, no.
Right.
No. Because on the flip side of that, we run things nationwide, and I think currently we're averaging around $500 per contract.
Acquisition. Yeah.
Now, obviously, there's a longer conversion cycle there, but like we're signing hell a lot of contracts for as little money as possible.
Yeah.
And like sometimes I feel like maybe it's just the G money effect, I don't know, but sometimes you're like, all right, we're gonna try this new thing, and you're like, wow, like you guys are getting stupid low ad prices, like things are crazy, and it just seems to work. And now with Daniel leading the academy and then also bringing in Garrett and like consistently having people to close deals, I mean, we're remping up, but we're getting ready to be some of these top spenders for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I was basically just really what that attributes to is like what you've been able to do as a leader to pull all of these people, pull Will together to be an expert at media buying, pull me and Brennan and Charlie together to be systems and processes guys, like getting people the right information when they need it. Daniel leading the academy, Garen, sales team on point at Dispo, right? It's just like, yeah, it's just a big testament to that. And as you've probably seen with other wholesalers or maybe even in your own business, right? It's like you have to have all of those things dialed in order to really like make paid ads work, right? Like you were saying, you were spending money on paid ads. I've seen this for sure, running paid ads for other people where like Will could do the best damn job in the world, but if he doesn't have clients that have their shit together, their family, it's gonna, a lot of things are gonna fall through, right? And we also can gauge that on our end too, of like, okay, leads are coming in, like if our cost per acquired contract starts rising, like now we know where to go look. So it's really cool when you do have everything super dialed, and you can actually literally see, based on the dollar signs, where the bottleneck is. You know what I mean? Which I think is really cool.
And you made a point there about pulling so many cool people in together. I mean, what we're building here with DealMakers obviously has a lot of being at Squad Up, a lot of pace flavor in what we do. I'm very much so a pace-esque leader. He does a very phenomenal good job of like pulling people together and doing this. That's why you and I came together, Will. We're all is not all is there. So, with that being said, you're like pulling the right resources in to make it work is incredible. Because when I first started spending money with you, we were just pissing it away. And like this is what separates those that get it and those that don't. Was like I knew going into it that I was going to piss the money away. I knew that I had to spend the money to learn, to build the process, to recruit the people.
Lessons.
And so like I'm not really pissing it away. Really, I'm buying my education. But to like Chelsea and others are like calling the leads and not getting deals. They're like, what the hell? We're just wasting money. I'm like, nah, it's a learning process, right? And so after we got to dial in our side, then I could go back to Will now and say, hey, we're building something very big here. Like what we're doing at DealMakers is large and it's different. You mentioned novations. We're not building a standard wholesale company. Like, we're doing a tremendous amount of novations and we are doing all through collaboration at an incredibly high level. We have incredibly high goals of 1,000+ contracts this year, which doesn't happen without paid advertising, that's for sure. So now after, I think it was basically 90 days between running ads with you and then building all my shit and like getting all the cool people and putting it all together, and I come back to you, I'm like, all right, I think we got it ready to go. So we start running again and then we're just knocking it out, right? So being able to bring you back around, Will, as the expert of media buying has helped us tremendously be able to see our trajectory to that 1,000. So first off, shout out to you. We appreciate that a ton. Being that we're at Squad Up, I know you're in Owners Club, man. So like, what has been some of the most valuable, or maybe the most valuable thing you've gotten from that high level mentorship with somebody like Pace?
For me, I'm always about like paying for the education, right? I spent 35 grand for gym launch, right? After buying into the gym facility, I always believe you need to speed up your learning curve. And unfortunately, if you have capital to start with and you can pay to play, you want to just catch up as fast as possible. Unfortunately, if you don't have the capital, you just have to do the hard work, right? But for me, it's like I had some capitals with prior business, so I'm willing to invest. And for me, when I saw the reason why I paid Big B and Owners Club is because when I was green in this kind of community, I already know how to do the media buying stuff. I knew that lead gen was a heavily demanded thing in this industry. For me, I just need to connect myself with people that have money. That's honestly the plan. Yeah.
I love it. And it being 1 year ago since you joined Orange Club, how has that changed your business? How has it made an impact for you being around those players?
I made sure that I learned the right thing and not the wrong. Because it's easy to develop habits in multiple ways, right? You can develop a terrible habit by following somebody that's not doing deals, or you can follow people that are actually, you follow the money. If the guy's obviously, cranking out 100K per month, there's something that person's doing right. Yeah. So I need to learn from that person, not the guy there's nothing wrong with like door knocking and stuff like that. It's just a very hard to scale business.
Very.
It's like I tell people every marketing channel works, but you have to understand the economics behind it and what your marketing channel is meant for. And if anything, at the highest level, you should be utilizing multiple marketing tools, not just inbound. You should be doing outbound to train people, right? Fill out that kind of that grip with your sales team. But with Orange Club, I just realized like there was a few guys that I learned from that was like, oh, you guys are high producers. So it's like, how are you treating leads? Like, how do you keep track of KPIs? Are you asking your people that are generating leads for you questions based per lead? Or are you looking at it as a broader whole, right? And at the end, I concluded that most of the guys that are at the highest level, they don't judge lead quality or marketing channel per lead. They look at on a weekly basis, cost per lead, and they look at, monthly basis, like, okay, is our offers being accepted? And they look at quarterly basis to judge the overall marketing platform. And then you make educated decisions based upon those data. They're not judging one lead per one lead. I work with some people, to you're saying, it's like, how, like, do you work with guys that are not doing deals? I worked with people in the past that they're messaging me every single lead that they get. And they're like, well, this guy is a mobile home. It's like, dude, like, we disqualify for those. Like, I can't help it if they lied. They're listed on the market. We disqualify for on market. They could be lying. It's like, I can't control per lead. It's like, what's your overall metrics? It's like, well, I was like, how many leads have you gotten? It's like, well, 12. I was like, well, on average for a really experienced acquisition team, 1 out of 12 to 15 leads become a creative, on Facebook specifically, creative or innovation contract. And then if you're really good, you might squeeze out a cash deal from that. But most of the guys on Facebook, they're doing 1 out of 12 to 15 for innovation and 1 out of 20 to 1 out of 40 leads per cash deal. And these are guys that are like extremely experienced. So you just started out, why are you stressing out per lead? You're actually shooting yourself in the foot by putting yourself in that kind of like feast or famine state.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a limited perspective. They can only see what's right in front of them. And as you advance in business, you learn how to zoom out and see how things actually apply on a grander scale. And that's actually the same reason why I joined Sub 2, because I'm like, I know how to do marketing. I know how to do lead gen. Like, I could build a company, I could build a team. That's easy. But like, I wanted more, right? And so Pace on my side, like, I'm able to emulate the community development thing and the way that he builds and grows people, which in turn grows the business. So that's definitely some of the huge value points that I get from Pace. But man, as we tie up here, how can people connect with you? Where can they find with you? What kind of requirements do they need to hit to be able to work with you? Because I know you got to be able to play the right game.
Yeah, I feel like anybody that's done their, earned their stripes, right? Anybody that's done their cold calling, there's two people actually. There are two types of people. There's people that if you don't have any money to start with and you want to be in this space, inbound is not where you should start. No, you should be, earning your stripes. You should cold call, get a few deals locked up, do agent outreach, use all the free channels, understand how to negotiate with sellers, understand how to creatively structure a deal, get to the point where you're closing on average 1 deal per month for a minimum of 3 months straight, build up the capital, and then invest in inbound. Because in the end of the day, it's going to take you roughly 75 days to 90 days to get that marketing channel into a position where you're finally starting to reap the fruits of this labor, right? So that's the type of person that I want to work with, somebody that knows that it's going to take time and they're patient with their business. But the second type is, hey, if you have capital coming into here and time is of a restraint, you can sell, you just dump into the inbound, you're going to pour maybe 15, 20 grand to learn. But by the time you pay that money out, you should have learned so fast to the point you can speed up your learning curve by a year. 100%.
And shoot, I want to give you your flowers, Will, because it doesn't matter if they go with you or the next guy. At the end of the day, bro, perform, right? So like, don't let the lead sit or it's not going to be a lead, right? Like, and a real example, bro, is I had this young lady, I won't say her name, one of the leads from you, and I called her, I told her my price point. She said, okay, I'll think about it. No joke, it happened where Zach said, she filled out another form on Facebook. This guy offers her $350. My price is not $350. My price is what I said it was, $322. I'm gonna stay where I'm at, but I build rapport, right? And I called her before that guy offered her, right? So she said, hey, can we go to $350? No, man, we can't. You know what I mean? But I performed and that lead came in and I performed on your lead. So what I'm saying is I'm giving you your flowers on. Doesn't matter if he ran the lead or you ran the lead. Call the lead, work the lead.
Exactly.
If you don't work it, it doesn't make with a bag lead, you can't close it.
Okay, that's the main thing, guys. It's like, like I said, if agencies, like the leads are all the freaking same. It's in the end of the day, your success is based upon what you're willing to put into it. Yeah. Just focus on that. Yeah. You want to work with me because you like my style? I'm a straight shooter. I'm going to yell at you. I'm going to tell you trash. But if you want to hear that, sure, work with me. But if you want to work with somebody a little bit nicer, then go with somebody else. I really don't give a shit.
I mean, that's the... So, I mean, it is what it is. I love to hear that. So what's your Instagram handle? Where can people, or Facebook, wherever, how can they reach you?
Yeah, they can follow me on Instagram, will.yus. That's my personal and my business account now at this point. They can directly book a call with either me or my team through reitransfer.com. Because we're running pay ads ourselves internally. So if you see one of my ads, they opt in.
Well, man, and if you're the other person that he mentioned that needs to get your stripes in first, you need to get the cold calls, you need to get your first deals. That's why we're here at DealMakers Academy. Help you learn how to generate those deals. Then you take that money, you go run it with Will. And that's how we print money on this DealMaker side. That's for sure. So, Will, I appreciate you coming hanging out with us in Dallas, man. I know it's a busy weekend for everybody here. So taking some time means a lot to me and the gang. So I appreciate you stopping by, man.
What was the last year? You got to change, man. Come on, fan.
Absolutely.